Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Tim's News Explosion. Today it is Monday, the 13th of June, 2022. We are live on the Wilmsfront YouTube, D Live, and Odyssey channels. It is 8:30 p.m. here in Melbourne, Victoria, where the Queen's birthday long weekend is coming to an end, but the big freeze will continue. It's been cold and wet enough here without being dropped into an ice bath at the freeze at the G, which took place today, though it's for a great cause. It's an annual tradition that began in 2015 before the AFL's annual Queen's birthday match between Collingwood and Melbourne. Various celebrities go into what's termed the cold seat and into the ice bath, and each big freeze dunk raises $10,000 to the fight for motor neuron disease, which is shortened as MND charity. So that charity funds care, researches treatment, and ultimately hopes to find a cure for the disease. Former Melbourne coach Neil Danaher is the inspiration and driving force behind the big freeze after being diagnosed with it in 2014. The late physicist Stephen Hawking was the most prominent global figure to be diagnosed with the disease. 2022, the Queen's birthday match, which Collingwood won by 26 points over the reigning premiers Melbourne. It was the first since 2019, which was in front of a crowd at the MCG. In 2020, it took place with nobody there. And in 2021, because Melbourne was in lockdown number 4, it took place at the SCG. So it was the big freeze at the G, but it was just at the SCG in Sydney. Maybe in the future, there'll be a similar fundraising event for SADS, which stands for Sudden Adult Death Syndrome, which has been in the news the past week. So it's an umbrella term to explain all of the recent rare heart attacks that have claimed the lives of young, healthy, fit people in the past 18 months. So this news.com.au article was one of the ones that basically kicked off the mainstreaming of the term SADS. So it says young people with a particular family history are being urged to get their heart screened, even if they're fit and healthy, as they could be at risk of sudden adult death syndrome. So SADS, it's an umbrella term, usually under 40, when a post-mortem can find no obvious cause of death, according to the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners. While national figures are not available, Melbourne's Baker Heart and Diabetes Institute is developing the country's first SADS registry, which it hopes to eventually roll out across the country. So in our registry, there are approximately 750 cases per year of people aged under 50 in Victoria suddenly having their heart stop, a cardiac arrest, a spokeswoman said. Of these, approximately 100 people per year will have no cause even after extensive investigation, such as a full autopsy, SADS. So I actually predicted that given that there were so many instances of, well, particularly sports players who were experiencing what the media termed rare heart attacks. Some of them fatal. And remember, there was that chilling week back in March, I think it was, when both Shane Warne and Kimberly Kitching died of heart attacks, both at the age of 52. So they obviously couldn't keep reporting them as rare heart attacks. So they came up. I actually predicted that they'd come up with a term such as SADS to explain them all, which is obviously it's a similar acronym to SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. And there's a Red Nose Day every year to raise money for treatment and cures for SIDS. Maybe for future SADS fundraising, they might have a clown wig day. So everyone puts on a clown wig for Clown Wig Day, and donates money so we can investigate the mystery that is SADS, which is all of a sudden just popped up over the past 18 months. Now, as always, we are also live on Entropy, which is the YouTube enhanced software, which you can ask a direct question or send a super chat to support not just this program, but other Unshackled productions. I put the links into the live chats. Hello to all of you there. It's great to see all the regulars. Alice in Wonderland says Blair is laughing his head off. Yes, I noticed that Blair Cottrell on his Telegram has been posting a lot about these SADS deaths and these rare heart attacks. Savnik Pureblood says, I'm 52, but I didn't take the jab, so I'm okay. Bruce Kivett says, this is like a Babylon Bee article. Well, some Babylon Bee articles, like in their satire, have just turned out to be correct. Because I remember there was one Babylon Bee articles that says Christian library just has books, no drag queen story hour. That's actually a fact. Crescio says, it's great to see rare things become commonplace. Well, not if they're causing death. I mean, that's horrific. We don't want, like, can you imagine how difficult it is for all of these families of young people? One day they're fit, healthy, happy, and then they just wake up dead the next day. I mean, that'd be incredibly difficult to get through. And now, obviously, the whole world, not just the showbiz world, was rocked by pop singer Justin Bieber announcing that he couldn't tour anymore because he had been struck by the facial paralysis from a rare syndrome called Ramsay Hunt Syndrome. And, well, I'll allow Justin to explain himself in the video that he posted online.
Justin here. I wanted to update you guys on what's been going on. Obviously, as you can probably see from my face, I have this syndrome called Ramsay Hunt Syndrome. And it is from this virus that attacks the nerve in my ear and my facial nerves and has caused my face to have paralysis. As you can see, this eye is not blinking. I can't smile on this side of my face. This nostril will not move. So there's full paralysis in this side of my face.
I see Crescio says, what's happened to Tim's face? Has something happened to my face? I know that I'm wearing the glasses now during my shows. That is because my eyesight's getting worse that I can't even see the screen in front of me. I've got another appointment with the optometrist later in the week because I think not even these glasses are doing the trick. Like I can't even, when I'm watching the footy now, I can't even see the score bug on the screen, even with my glasses on. So that's really bad there. Now, nobody had ever heard of this Ramsay Hunt syndrome until Justin Bieber confirmed his diagnosis. So this is from rarediseases.org. So everyone's curious with the causes. So it's caused by the Varicella zoster virus, which is the same virus that causes the chickenpox and shingles. I wonder if monkeypox can also cause Ramsay Hunt syndrome. The virus can remain dormant for decades in a person who's had chickenpox as a child. I had chickenpox as a child. Reactivation of the varicella zoster virus results in shingles and in some cases develops into Ramsay Hunt syndrome. The reason why the virus reactivates and affects the facial nerve in Ramsay Hunt syndrome is unknown. So therefore, another medical mystery there. Lady Shellac says shingles are used to just sick old people got that. Yeah, I've only heard of, like, obviously it's a illness that's been around for many years, but we've only started hearing about it again recently. Now, one of Justin Bieber's most recent hits, Stay, is a collaboration with Australian rapper who goes by the name the Kid LAROI. I'll probably mispronounce that as well. So he recently cancelled his Melbourne shows and postponed a Brisbane performance after being struck down with an illness, which was later diagnosed as influenza, which has knocked out several members of his touring team. So at the Rod Laver Arena, fans were left waiting for over 40 minutes before it was announced that the show had been postponed. So he said he wanted to perform very badly, so he called the doctors and had them bring an IV drip and some extra stuff to try and help. As the night went on, it got worse to the point where it was hard for me to stand up and go to the bathroom. I promise you with all my heart that I gave everything in me to try and get up on that stage. So he's rescheduled his Melbourne and Brisbane performances. So there are a lot of angry fans at the time, but hopefully, like they understand now that he was just struck down so suddenly and immediately with a full bout of influenza. Crescio says maybe he ate too much McDonald's. I don't know. There are all these sick rumors about why he cancelled his show. Now, we also have a grim warning from the Queensland Health Minister, Yvette Darth. That's how you say it, Darth. That's not daft. So this was when she was announcing the opening of a new cancer clinic. So she's announced that Queenslanders can expect the number of people diagnosed with cancer to increase by almost 50% by 2036. Cancer is Australia's leading cause of death and disability, with the number of new cancer cases each year projected to increase faster than the rate of population growth. Sadly, on average, one person every 4 minutes is diagnosed with cancer in Australia. So Anastasia Palaszczuk said there are approximately 31,000 cancer diagnoses and over 9,400 deaths in Queensland each year. So it's these were the statements made following a government announcement. It'll open a new $750 million Queensland Cancer Centre there. So the world-class precinct, which will be located at the Royal Brisbane Women's Hospital, is set to double the amount of people who can receive cancer care by 2028. We'll create 150 cancer beds and free up another 59 beds in the hospital system there. We know that because of the pandemic lockdowns, there were many thousands of cancer screenings that were missed because people deferred their care because they were scared that they might get COVID and die if they ever visited a hospital to receive treatment or get some sort of test. So we're paying for it now. And in the Queen's Birthday honours, many of those public health officials that scared the Australian public into going along with pandemic lockdowns and restrictions over the past 2 years were made the Queen's Birthday honours list here. So this age list here shows that because there's different medals in the Order of Australia. So there's ones that are more, what does it say, unusual, are the military and meritorious ones. Then in the hierarchy, there's medals, members, officers, and companions. So companions are AC, that's the highest. Then there's officers, AO, and then there's members, which is AM, and then medals is OAM. So we had here the Governor of Queensland, formerly the Chief Health Officer of Queensland, Dr. Jeanette Young, got an AC for eminent service to public health, administration to medicine, and research to the tertiary education sector, and for being the governor. And Professor Brendan Murphy, who was the Chief Medical Officer when the pandemic began, and is now the Secretary of the Federal Department of Health, for eminent service to medical administration and community health, particularly as Chief Medical Officer, and to neurology, to research, innovation, and to professional organizations. Remember, this is the same professor who recently couldn't define what a woman was when he was asked by Liberal Senator Alex Antic at an estimates hearing, and he said he'd take the question on notice to give a more detailed answer because this is a contested area there. So he's now an AC. Then in the officers category, there were some good ones. There was Ash Barty, the recent Australian Open women's singles champion. We had Dr. Kerry, her middle name is Gay Chant, Kerry Gay Chant, for distinguished services to the people of New South Wales through public health administration and governance and medicine. And we also had further down here a COVID commentator, Dr. Mary Louise McLaws, for distinguished service to medical research, particularly to epidemiology and infection prevention, to tertiary education, and to health administration. So she was one of the experts who was all over the nightly news and the talk show circuits. She was very pro-mask and pro-lockdown. She hasn't been in the public eye of late because she's had a brain tumor. But she was the only COVID commentator to get a Queen's Birthday honour. Savnik says, a woman is an adult human female. It's not that simple. And there's always got to be the follow-up to this. What does a adult human female have? Obviously, they have a vagina and a womb as well. Senator Slayer says, Tim, do you get double time for having your show on public holidays? Well, if I can get some double super chats, for doing a show on the Queen's birthday evening, then I'd certainly appreciate it. Paul James says, I bet you Margot Robbie is subverting the Unshackled. That's the Australian actress. She has nothing to do with the Unshackled Margot Robbie. Now, moving on to, well, what we're experiencing every day when we go to purchase something or need to go anywhere, the inflation and energy crisis. So it's a globalist phenomena. The US, their inflation figure for the year ending May was 8.6% inflation, and gasoline, which is what they call petrol fuel over there, is now at $5 a gallon, which that's an imperial measurement. It's 3.7 litres. Petrol is right back up here in Australia at $2.25 per litre. And remember, that's with the 22 cent excise cut, which will end in September. So without any excise cut, it would be close to $2.50 per litre. Now, the Russia-Ukraine conflict is being blamed for energy shortages in the Western world, not climate policies. What did Jen Psaki, the former Biden administration press secretary, say? What is it? Putin's gas hike. And we had today almost the entire state of Queensland just avert a blackout, and energy authorities in New South Wales are on high alert for power shortfalls hitting homes and businesses on Tuesday evening. So all of you New South Welsh people in the chat, stay alert if the power remains on tomorrow. So we had the Australian energy market operator impose a rare cap to halt runaway wholesale power prices in Queensland, which crimped the profit margin of some generators, which resulted in them offering less power for sale in the market. Now, there's lots of various discussions by politicians and media about the gas and electricity shortfall. There's talk about having a national gas reserve, because Western Australia currently is having the electricity prices are rising by the least because they have a gas reserve. Because man says this coming just as Perrottet revives the Gladys era policy of replacing stamp duty with an ongoing property tax. Yes, I heard that that was his grand tax reform of the day. I also noticed that he also was unveiling some new SES services after the Lismore floods. Both Perrottet and the new emergency management federal emergency management minister Murray Watt are promising to build back better Lismore. Mel McPhee said, but blackouts are just a conspiracy theory. Well, you won't be able to use electricity, and you'll be happy. And also, we won't get I don't think the quarterly inflation figures for maybe another month or so. But you'll notice your grocery bill continuing to rise, particularly in the fruit and veg department. And well, that's because there has been a supply issue because of the storms and floods earlier this year. And obviously the produce item that the media is is going on about the most is the increase in the price of iceberg lettuces. I remember during the federal election campaign, Christina Keneally was saying iceberg lettuces, they've now hit $5 for an iceberg lettuce, and they've at least risen to $6. In some areas, they're as high as $12 for a single iceberg lettuce. Now, if Bill Shorten was Prime Minister, he would definitely be taking a hands-on approach to lettuce and the grocery bills, like he did when he went shopping with a local Eden Monaro family just before the 2016 federal election.
What's your favourite type of lettuce?
I actually like iceberg, darling.
Do you eat a lot of salads?
Yes, I like, well, not salad, I like lettuce. Yeah, lettuce.
That's fantastic.
Carrots.
Oh, you're every mother's joy with pears.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep, this one.
Yeah, that's what I get my kids.
Yeah, they love that.
Custard. It's a it's a staple.
And yeah, it is a staple, and then you can have a bit of fruit with it.
Yeah.
This would be good.
Something special. That's good, but
Good, $2.
yeah. Until Malcolm's something enough.
Savnik says, I bought 1 kilo of diced bacon for $10. Why bother with lettuce? Yeah, I think we can all live without lettuce for a while. But the thing is, it's a slippery slope. If we begin to sort of say, oh, well, we don't really need lettuce, then there'll be people saying, well, why can't you live without bacon or all these other staples? Mel McPhee says, but food shortage is just a conspiracy theory. Yes, that conspiracy theorist Joe Biden was talking about food shortages. So as you would be aware, KFC, to cut costs and keep the price of their Zinger burgers low, it has been replacing lettuce on their burgers with cabbage instead. And in the Labor tradition of being very concerned about the price of iceberg lettuces and, well, lettuce substitution. So when he was appearing on Kyle and Jackie O's show on Kiss FM, Elbow said to them, Anil said, I should say, he said it was just wrong, saying he would raise the issue of Cabbagegate at Thursday's cabinet meeting. This is a crisis. My son loves KFC, and when he hears about this, he is going to be devastated. Extreme. Cabbage isn't the same as lettuce. It's just wrong. I'm going to put it on the list for today's cabinet meeting. Cabbagegate. So there you're there. Anil is on the case there. Now, obviously, the increase in the price of lettuce, and well, it seems so lucrative now to be in the lettuce trade. Now, the price of lettuce will come down eventually. Many of you might remember about 15 years ago, because of Cyclone Yazi in central Queensland, the price of bananas, I think, went above $10 a kilo. And I remember one of the chasers, Julian Morrow, he did a sketch where he decided to buy things with Aussie bananas because they were just as valuable as money. So now we have all these hilarious lettuce memes going around. So there's this fake Combank article, buying your first lettuce. Where do you start? We outline 6 steps worth taking in your lettuce buying journey so you can make your first salad with confidence. And then we have local drug dealers are now growing lettuce because, yes, we've been told by the authorities and the media that organized crime and the mafia, they are back with a vengeance. And so it urges people, this meme urges people to call Crime Stoppers. And then there's also this fake story that Police raid Footscray home and seize hydroponic lettuce crop found growing in roof with estimated street value of $250,000. In 2022, police have seized almost 33,000 plants weighing more than 14 tons from 160 grow houses. That's a lot of iceberg lettuce off the street. We're keeping all Victorians safe, says Assistant Commissioner Luke Cornelius, because obviously Luke Cornelius, it's fair to assume he's a big fan of KFC, and he would have been consuming those cabbage zingers. And as we know, cabbage makes you a bit windy. And well, with the size of him, I mean, the emissions that would have been emitted from his farts from eating the cabbage would significantly increase global warming. Senator Slayer says that's not a fake story. Yes, it is a fake story, but could it become true? Because we know that there has been a lot of alarm about Dan Andrews' agricultural amendment bill, which has just passed the parliament. And will this mean that Dan can come, he can empower authorized officers to come and seize your veggie patches, and particularly iceberg lettuces, to supply, to increase supply to Victorians, because there could be some suspicion that a lot of private citizens are hoarding all the iceberg lettuces. I know that the XYZ published an article a while back saying that Dan's new agricultural amendment bill could lead to a Hold-em-all 2.0. But rest assured that the Dan's agricultural department has put out an agricultural legislation amendment bill 2022 fact sheet to debunk all the conspiracy theories and misinformation from the, as Luke Cornelius himself would put it, tinfoil hat brigade. So here it is. The claim: the state government is now passing a law which means you won't be able to grow your own food. They can forcibly come in and rip it all out. Facts: the amendments will safeguard food security, food safety, and access to export markets, for example, by preventing contamination of food from pesticides. The amendments will not result in the destruction of crops, nor will they prevent people from growing their own food. Information circulating online misrepresents misrepresents amendment in the agricultural legislation amendment bill. So see, this should put your mind at ease. But Rod Lampard from Colesrampool, he focused here on the issue of that this legislation could ban hunters from sharing game meat with their family, and the maximum penalty is 2 years in prison under this if it's violated this provision. So updated agricultural legislation in Victoria has been interpreted as a ban on hunters and farmers sharing game meat with family and or their community. It's worth pointing out that this is passed with bipartisan support. So the Liberal Nationals parties, they supported it with the government. So the concern about the amendments appear to be validated by the vague and shadowy way in which the legislation was communicated by the Andrews government. Going down here, so the updated laws tightens rules for authorities who force veterinary controls on the agricultural centre. So Part 12 of 183-page legislation amends meat industry laws. The legislation sets a ban on disposing and selling of game meat for human consumption unless the meat is from a processed or licensed facility. So the Sporting Shooters Association of Victoria asserted, "We are pleased to confirm that Victorian hunters have nothing to worry about and that the bill in question makes no material changes that would impact recreational hunters." So it has here that so the SAA says that they encourage all hunters to be mindful of food handling responsibility. There is no excuse for negligence. It has never been seriously suggested that hunters or fishers or farmers would ever be charged for simply sharing well-handled meat in a social setting. It remains inconceivable that anyone ever will be. And Rod Lampard says, this could be read as the SSAA quietly telling hunters and farmers to take extra care because there are those in power who are itching for an excuse to remove their Section 35 game meat exception there. Now, part of the justification for this agricultural amendment is for biosecurity, because it's one of the reasons that's given for the spread of monkeypox in West Africa is because of bushmeat that is sold in markets, which they blame for the spread of contaminated meat in West Africa, which has led to monkeypox becoming endemic in that region there. Now, that's it for Tim's News Explosion for another week. Now, there's quite a bit of news which I didn't cover tonight. Again, it's only supposed to last for 30 minutes, Tim News Explosion, but I always go over time. We'll be covering the latest from the US political theatre on Wilmsfront this Thursday evening with the January 6th Resurrection Show. I'll be joined live. It will be live, so you'll be able to interact with my guest, Nick Holt from the Independent News Network. He's I've been following a lot of the recent US political developments, even though he's an Australian who is based in Brisbane. He has his blog on Substack and also his podcast show, which, well, YouTube keeps taking down his interviews. Then on Friday, it'll be another episode of Trad Tasman Talk with Dewey DeBoer. We will talk about, well, the latest in the power crisis, latest about organized crime in both nations, which I've mentioned are on the rise. Jacinta met with Anil last Friday and again complained about Australia deporting criminals who are New Zealand citizens, who they don't have Australian citizenship, but they've been in Australia most of their lives, and so therefore, because they're not citizens, they're deported into New Zealand. I mean, obviously, if we can get rid of a criminal by deportation, we will. But of course, if you're a New Zealander, you're not going to want people who you consider Australian criminals deported to your country. We'll also be covering the possible a possible restarting of the boats, particularly from Sri Lanka, since that country is broke and there's food and fuel shortages. There was another Sri Lankan asylum boat intercepted on the weekend. There are concerns that the Biloela family being granted bridging visas when they were found to be not refugees from Sri Lanka and came to Australia illegally by boat could lead to people smugglers enticing more Sri Lankans to come to Australia. There was also another High Court decision that said dual citizens who go overseas to fight for groups like ISIS, they can't be stripped of their Australian citizenship unless they're convicted of a terrorism crime in an Australian court. And we'll also discuss the great China relations reset with Defence Minister Richard Marles promising more respect in Australia's relationship with China in a meeting with the Chinese Defence Ministry official. And throughout the week, there'll be new reports from Tiger Mount with Richard Wollstonecroft, also new articles on the unshackled.net. And we've also started the Unshackled newsletter again. So it's all back happening here at the Unshackled. And so there's not just new articles by myself, but also by Margot Huss and Andy Nolch as well. So thank you all so much to my regulars. And I'll see you Thursday for Wilmsfront, 8:30 p.m. Melbourne time on the Wilmsfront channel. And then Trad Tasman Talk, 6 p.m. Melbourne time on the Unshackled YouTube channels. So stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, and also stay fed. And also stay warm as well.
Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.